Welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. Today's video is gonna be absolutely bonkers. Now, the data is in, and home buyers are backing out of purchase contracts at a record pace. And I say it's better to back out of a contract than get stuck with home buyer's remorse on something as large as purchasing a home. So the question is, can you legally back out of a purchase contract? And in order to determine that, you have to properly understand the contingencies of the contract and your rights as a buyer. So we're going to look at all of that stuff today, guys. Now we're going to also look at how much money 60,000 canceled contracts actually cost the real estate industry. Because you guys, 60,000 people canceled their contracts in October. And I can't say this enough. It's now more important than ever, you guys, to find a great realtor to be on your side, right? The problem is, and I get it, it is hard to find one. But remember, guys, I'm not your financial advisor, even if I want to be, even though my bio is as a realtor, loan officer, and instructor in real estate in Texas. But this is my personal YouTube channel, and I love it. And I thank you guys for letting me come here to share my stories. Do me a favor, guys, like this video, subscribe to my channel, hit notifications, share this, and do me a favor, comment below. Either way, let's get started now. So today we're going to explore an MSN MoneyWise article that's titled Homebuyers Remorse. Thousands of Americans are backing out of buying a home. What you need to know before you cancel a purchase. The housing market is cooling as home buyers contend with increasing interest rates and high prices. And some are even pulling out after they sign the dotted line. So again, what we're going to do is go into the contingencies of a contract, kind of what your rights are as a buyer, what you can do if you want to cancel. Because again, you guys, if something happens during the time that you're purchasing a home, it's definitely better to walk away than close on a transaction on something so large that you don't love. About 60,000 home purchase agreements fell through in October, according to Redfin. And I'm going to do a calculation, guys, on how much money I think 60,000 canceled contracts is going to cost our industry. And I'll go over that as soon as I'm done reading here. That's the most on record since the real estate brokerage started tracking that data in 2013. Deal cancellations and price cuts also hit record highs as prospective buyers moved more tentatively following the biggest mortgage rate jump in over 40 years. Once you've made an offer on a home and the seller has accepted it, there are still a few steps before a house is officially yours. From the time an offer is accepted and when it goes through, you'll be in a limbo period called under contract. Okay, whatever. Here's what you need to know if you decide you want to back out of a deal. Now, before we go into the contingencies and kind of what to do if you want to back out of a deal, let me try to explain how much 60,000 contracts actually costs our industry. Now, remember, guys, I'm obviously a loan officer of 21 years. I've been a realtor for about 11 years, CE instructor of continuing education for realtors for almost 4 years. And what I can tell you is when just one person cancels a contract, and again, I'm not saying don't do that. You should cancel a contract if you don't feel you should close, but it creates a ripple effect for the industry. There are so many people that work on your file, guys: escrow, title, insurance, lender, realtors, setup, underwriters, processors, right? Flood certs, IRS stuff. There's so much that goes into processing an actual transaction when just one person cancels. Let's put a number on it, okay? Not to mention also realtors, right? Realtors have to pay gas. They have to spend their time on showing people. Same with loan officers. They have to spend their weekends. Employees have to spend their nights getting information to buyers. So I'm not trying to knock professionals in my industry. I want to be clear about that. What I'm trying to do is sound the alarm that there is a whole bunch of bad professionals in our industry, but I'm also letting you know that there are great professionals in our industry that earn their commission, and it's those professionals that you need to find and keep in your inner circle. But let's say each canceled contract cost $1,000. Okay, so it's probably more than that, but let's say $1,000, y'all. 60,000 canceled contracts. So 60,000 times 1,000 is $60 million. So 60,000 contracts, probably it was more, but it costs the industry, from my estimates, from $1,000, $60 million loss. In other words, you guys, you haven't even seen the real estate market melt down yet. You haven't even seen it hit lenders and realtor firms, insurance companies, title companies. Y'all haven't even seen that yet, but it's coming, and it's coming fast. So hold on. But regardless, guys, let's go back into the article, figure out the contingencies, how to cancel, and things like that right now. What does it mean when a house is under contract? Making an offer that's accepted is just the middle of a real estate transaction, not the end. And home buyers can afford to be choosier now as demand and competition softens. House hunters today are taking their time and exploring their options, whereas 6 months ago, they had to act quickly and pull out every stop to compete because homes were selling almost immediately. Home buyers now will agree to buy a house and be doing the inspection and then back out because they find another home they love more. When you buy a home, this period when you're under contract allows you to clear any conditions you wrote into the offer. Like if you said your bid was contingent on your ability to get financing, and that's usually called the third-party financing addendum. This will save you and allow you to get your earnest money back. Okay, so the third-party financing addendum is really big, and that's if a lender says that essentially you're not qualified for a loan, as long as it's done in a certain period of time specified in the contract, y'all can back out. But again, every situation is different, and talk to your realtor. This concludes. The contract is a legally binding purchase agreement, but the seller is still allowed to show the home, and other potential buyers can prepare backup offers in case the deal falls through. However, the seller can't drop out of the contract simply if a better offer than yours comes along. Can a buyer back out of an accepted offer? And the answer to that, guys, essentially is yes, as long as you have contingencies within the contract. Let's read this. If you or the seller can't meet the contract contingencies for the sale, it will be voided and you can back out. Once you sign the contract, you'll be given a set period of time to clear these contingents or cancel the transaction. Common contingency issues would be not being able to nail down financing, finding major defects during the home inspection, or finding out through the appraisal process that the home's value doesn't match the purchase price. And those are all probably the primary reasons to back out, guys. Also, job loss and people buying furniture or cars during the process and no longer being able to qualify is a big one. Home inspectors don't usually look for lead-based paint, evidence of pets, or issues with the roof, sewers, or private wells. You'll need to hire a specific inspector for those issues if you have concerns. And that's why I'm always telling you guys, get a home inspection. Please, for the love of God, you guys, get a home inspection. If your inspector finds evidence of dangerous problems like radon gas, mold, or asbestos, additional inspections may be recommended. These can be costly issues to resolve, so it's best to uncover them before the sale clears. Closing on a sale also involves doing a title search. If there are any liens or bankruptcies against the property, it may not be possible to transfer title. And that's actually happened to me on the day of closing because the title company dropped the ball. I won't go there. The search also will uncover any easements or covenants, conditions, or restrictions commonly known as CC&R. If there are easements and CC&Rs that interfere with your plans for the property, those are grounds for you to back out of the contract. So if an easement interferes with where you'd install a pool or swing set and the CC&Rs limit what you can do with your yard or how you can enjoy it, you can cancel the deal. So it listed a few things. Now in my state, there's also an option period that's usually 5 to 7 days where you can give a seller $100 to $300 and essentially cancel for any reason. And generally during the option period, you do your inspection. So inspections are huge things, appraisals are huge things, financing is a huge thing, and also title, easements, and liens is a huge thing. But again, you guys, you have to understand your rights, and it's really hard to do that when you purchase real estate when you're emotional, right? And that's what we saw the last 2 years, and you guys do not need to be those people, and please don't be those people. Let's get back into the article. What if the contingencies aren't met? If there are significant issues that come up during the contingency process, like say there's water damage or the roof needs replacing, you can go back to the seller to negotiate. You can ask if the seller will come down on the price or fix the issues before closing. A lot of times they'll just take it off of the top of the purchase price, because let me tell you guys real quick before I forget this. As a loan officer, if I get a purchase contract that's subject to any repairs, Generally, the underwriter will require, in order for the loan to close, that those repairs be made, and not only be made by a licensed insured contractor. So in other words, if you do that during the process, it's a pain in the neck and you can't just randomly pick someone to repair it. It has to be done the right way. And it's a huge problem if it goes through underwriting. So a lot of times that's why lenders or realtors actually renegotiate when there's a problem and they just take it off the purchase price, or they just give it to the buyer in the form of seller's concessions or seller credit closing costs. I don't know if that makes sense. I hope it does. Let's jump back in. If the seller refuses, it's within your rights to back out of the deal. While you're likely got pre-approval for a loan before making an offer on the home, financing sometimes does fall through, and that's very true, you guys. And I can tell you exactly why on another video. Your financial contingency ensures you're not on the hook for the loan you can't afford if you can't secure a lender. These are all fairly standard contingencies that will lead a home sale to fall through. But make sure you're aware of the timeline for meeting each of the contingencies because they can vary. You generally have 30 days to secure a loan, but only 7 to 14 days to have a home inspected. Be sure to read the fine print and be sure you won't miss the opportunity to back out gracefully. So in other words, what that's saying, guys, is some contingencies have different time frames of protection for you. And generally, it's all stipulated in the purchase contract. So if you need to extend the contingency time period of protection, you can do that in the purchase contract. You can ask for 45 days for financing instead of the normal 30 days. You can essentially ask for whatever you want, but again, the industry standard, usually 28, 30 days for third parties, 5 to 7 days for option, things of that nature. At least it is in Texas. Obviously, each state varies significantly. What if I don't have a contingency? When you made the offer on the home, you put down a security deposit known as earnest money. Your earnest money shows the seller that you're serious about buying the house. You typically pay between 1 to 5% of the purchase price, but this can shoot up to 10% depending on the market. And what my experience has been is 1%. Unless it's a new build, I've seen a lot of new builds take as little as $500 as earnest money. Backing out of the sale while you're under contract without a contingency puts you at risk of losing your earnest money. And the seller could even take you to court to force you to close on the home under what's called specific action. Winding up in court is less common, but it is a serious risk. When is it too late to back out of buying a house? After you've signed the contract and once the contingency period has passed, it becomes much harder to back out of a real estate contract, especially if the reason is a sudden case of cold feet. Some states require you to go into mediation with the seller if you have a serious dispute, in the hopes of keeping the matter out of court. But once you've arrived at this point as a buyer, you've made it clear that you're serious about purchasing the home. If you need to back out and have good reasons, you should put those in writing to explain things to the seller. Ask your real estate agent to help you with the messaging of your letter. If you're still at odds with the seller, even after mediation, you may need to bring in a real estate attorney to help you go over your options. So, in conclusion, you guys need to understand your rights as a buyer and the contingencies before signing a contract on the biggest financial transaction of your life. And one of the jobs a realtor has to do is to break down a purchase contract for you. But again, you guys, if anyone is going through the process of purchasing a home and they stumble upon something that they don't like, they should probably be able to walk away and start looking for the home of their dreams once again. Y'all need to understand that you do have rights as a buyer, but you must play the game accordingly. If you don't, you may be trapped in something that you hate, and you may miss out on the opportunity of your lifetime, which is right around the corner. And you guys see the data, so you know I'm right. You already see home prices going down. Just wait a little bit, wait for the dust to continue to settle, wait till more metro areas are going down, wait till we have a confirmed recession, and wait till the fear of missing out hits the sellers. When that happens, probably time to buy. Now, other than that, guys, I really hope you guys got some value, insights, and perspective from today's video. And if you're out there investing in real estate, I do wish you luck, and I hope you win.